What's going on, everybody? This is Mike over at Disney Daily Dime, and we are here with a bit of a new video today. Given the quarantine and everything that's still going on, we're doing a little bit of a home video here for a little bit of a break in our regular content, so hope you enjoy it. Today we're actually going to be making the beignets that you can find over at Port Orleans French Quarter. If you're not familiar with it, Disney posted a recipe for these about, gosh, I want to say it's about 2 months ago, kind of maybe a month into the closure of the parks and everything. And we've been wanting to make them for actually quite some time, but I don't know if you've seen this or not. Finding yeast has been incredibly difficult, and I happened to stumble across it at a supermarket in our area last weekend, I guess it was. So finally found some yeast so we can actually give these a go. So Anna and Elsa, and I think Carla might actually help too, are going to help us give these things a go. So we'll kind of show you how to make them, the recipe, everything, so you can give it a try on your own, and we'll tell you, of course, how we think they came out. So let's get to it. So to make the beignets, we need obviously a set of ingredients. So I've got them all kind of assembled here, and I'll walk you through them. I'll also throw up a little graphic here in the video of kind of what all we need. But you need a half teaspoon of dry yeast, which we've actually kind of got hidden underneath here. That was the elusive ingredient that we finally found. You'll need a quarter cup of warm water, which will be inside of that Pyrex glass once I actually heat it up in the microwave. A quarter cup of sugar, which is hiding inside of this container right here. And then you're going to need 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening, which is found in the Crisco that we have right here. So that is vegetable shortening. That was actually a lesson I learned in shopping for this that Carla taught me. I did not know that Crisco was vegetable shortening. You need a half teaspoon of salt, which is inside of this. And then you need half cup of heavy cream, which is right here. 1 egg, which is our little farm brown egg right there. A half cup of boiling water, which I don't have actually here in the video. We'll just put that into a pot when needed. And then vegetable oil for the frying, which is the large thing of Crisco, which is definitely overkill for what I think this calls for, but that's what we've got. And then, of course, powdered sugar to top off the beignets, because let's be real, they're not really beignets if you don't have powdered sugar. So that's all of the ingredients that you need. And again, there's a graphic up here on the image right now where you can kind of see what everything is. And then here in a second, we'll look at kind of the pots, pans, etc. that you'll need to make these. Okay, and actually one real quick thing, I realized that I forgot to mention the largest ingredient of all. You need flour. You need 4 cups of all-purpose flour. So we've got a little bit that we have left over in this canister, and we bought a new package of gold medal all-purpose flour. So those are all the ingredients, and then now let's look at all the stuff we need to make it. For making the beignets, you're going to need a few different things from your kitchen. So the first item is something I actually showed you. So this is the Pyrex cup that has the water that I'm going to make warm in there. They ask you to have a different bowl to mix the warm water and the yeast, but we're just going to do it in the Pyrex. But technically, they say have a different bowl. To cut the beignets, if you want Mickey-shaped beignets, you need a Mickey kind of cutter like what we have here. But if you don't have that, then you can kind of put them in circle, make them look like donuts, and really kind of whatever you want to do. We're going the Mickey style route though. Then for boiling the beignets and frying them, I should say, you're going to need a deep pot. This is the one that we're going to use for ours, and you're going to pour the vegetable oil in there, and that's where you're going to fry the beignets up. In addition, you'll need, this is just one particular measuring cup. You're actually going to need a few different ones because you need things that are, half teaspoons, quarter cup, 4 cups, half cup, things like that. So read the directions on the sizes, and I'll put the actual instructions or directions kind of sprinkled through the video so you can see them. You'll need a rolling pin to roll out the dough once it's made. You'll probably want to put it on a mat. We have this rolling pastry mat here. You'll see what that looks like here in a bit, but it helps the dough not stick to it. And then lastly, you need a mixer of some sort. You can hand mix it, In our case, we've got this KitchenAid that I think Carla and I got this when we got married. So it's pretty old, but it still works. So nothing wrong with that. But these are kind of all the things that you're going to need to make the beignets. So now we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so one thing I realized is that to boil the half cup of water that you have to mix with all the dough, you actually need a pot to boil it all, because heating on the microwave is not going to work. So I got an additional pot out, so that's what's kind of cooking here. So we've got that done and kind of on to boil, so it'll be ready to go. Okay, so I've got two helpers with me now. We have Anna and Elsa joining us, so they're kind of off screen over here. You can say hi, girls. Okay, so they're going to help us. So, Elsa, take this. That goes in the microwave, and I need you to heat it up for 45 seconds. Okay. So we're going to heat up. So you start the directions. The very, very first thing that you do is you heat up that quarter cup of water, and we're heating up in that Pyrex, and then you're going to sprinkle the yeast over it and mix it all up, and then you're going to let that stand for 5 minutes. So let's do that. Okay, so we've taken the water out of the microwave. It's now heated up and ready to go. So we're going to put in the ½ teaspoon of dry yeast into the water and then mix it up. So Elsa, go ahead and put that in. There we go. And then, so this is a ¼ teaspoon, so we got to actually do 2 of them to get the half. Okay, and you go ahead and put that in. Okay, and then Anna, go ahead and come on over here, and you'll mix it all together. Stir it all up. Get it good and stirred. Okay, all right. That looks pretty good. Okay, so you can take the spoon out. Okay, so the mixture is all sort of made. It says to leave it and let it sit for 5 minutes. So Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes.
Second timer, 5 minutes.
Alexas are wonderful if you don't have one, by the way. So that is the making the dry yeast kind of mixture, and now we're going to go ahead and make the bulk of the dough items. So let's get to that. All right. So now we're going to basically combine all the bulk of the ingredients. So as you can see in our mixing bowl that will go into the mixer, we've already put 3 of the cups of flour in there, so we've only got 1 more. So Elsa, go ahead and put that in. Yep, just dump it in. There you go. So that gives us 4 cups of all-purpose flour in the bowl. Then you need to put in your heavy cream. So you just pour it in. We put the sugar in the bowl, and then you put the shortening in.
It was a tablespoon, right?
It was two tablespoons of shortening. So you got to put 1 more tablespoon in.
This is a ½ tablespoon, so we'll need 4.
So again, it's 2 tablespoons of the vegetable shortening. So we do have 1 technical error going on. The ½ cup of water has boiled and evaporated, and it looks like it's maybe not even a ¼ cup. So we're going to have to do that again here in a second. So we put that. Carla, can you crack that egg?
Absolutely.
And the egg is in there. So that's sugar, shortening, salt, heavy cream, egg, flour, and then we need the boiling water. So let's go fix that real quick. Yes, very good. Very good, Anna. I appreciate that. So the salt is supposed to be a ½ teaspoon. So this is a ¼ teaspoon, so we'll put 2 of them in there. So there's the salt. All right, so let's fix the boiling water and then we'll be back. Well, that didn't take terribly long. As you can see, we have water boiling in our pan. So I'm going to come on over here. Watch out, girls. Let me put this in. And we will dump it on in. And then we need to mix it. So, woo! Look at all that steam on the lens of the camera. Sorry about that. But you can definitely see the heat. No, let mommy do it because it's a little harder and thicker. All the ingredients kind of.
I should have beaten the egg first.
All right. While you're mixing it, you pour in the yeast and warm water mixture that we had made earlier. So we'll go ahead and pour that all in. And this is the bowl that we're going to put on the mixer. So if you want to save a dirty dish, use that. If you don't have a mixer, then you'll maybe have 2 dirty dishes. I'm not sure. So it's kind of thickened up like that. And so the directions say basically to place the dough in a mixer with what they call a dough hook attachment, which, while Carla's doing that, I'll show you, looks something like this. I would not have known what that was until Carla showed me, but apparently that's what what it is. So if you don't have that, I assume something else might work okay, but this is what it says to use. So you put it on that and mix it until it's smooth and kind of has a good doughy consistency, and then you let it sit for 30 minutes. So how's it looking?
It's coming together.
Yeah. Is it a point where we should put it into the...
I think so.
There? Yeah. 'Cause
I'd like for it to be a little bit better combined, but I think we're close enough.
Yeah. All right. So we'll be back in a second once we've got it kind of on the mixer. So we've got the dough in the mixer, and I think the mixer's plugged in. Yeah.
Yes.
And we'll turn it on and we'll let it. You can kind of see it go in there. So we'll turn it on, and when we think it's kind of mixed and combined, we'll show you what we think it looks like. Carla's a little concerned that it doesn't have enough moisture in it, but we're following the directions, so we'll see what the outcome is. We'll be back once it's kind of mixed. All right, so the 30 minutes is about up on letting the dough rise in the mixing bowl. So before we put it down on the what's this thing called again? The roll pat. Before we put it down, we're going to put down a layer of flour to kind of help I believe, Carla, the intention is it helps it not stick.
Yeah,
to the roll pat.
the roll pat
Okay.
is designed where it won't stick, but I'm putting a little bit down and then obviously flouring the rolling pin
Yeah. So
in a not very graceful way.
that's all right. We're not all about grace here. We're about just doing stuff with 2 kids. The girls snicker. All right, so let's get that out of the way.
Yay, I'm so excited. Your hair's gonna be fun.
So we're gonna let mommy start. Okay, and here comes the big lump of
Oh my god.
dough out of the mixing bowl, and you
Can I
kind of
touch
see
it?
it looks like it's reasonably well mixed together.
It feels so weird.
I hope you have
Oh.
clean hands.
It's so weird.
So
And it was 1/4 inch thickness.
yes, it says roll to 1/4 inch thickness and cut individual
Wait for my turn to
beignets.
roll it.
It says it's supposed to make up to
Oh my
10 of them, 10 large Mickey Mouse sized beignets, or 2 dozen small beignets.
I would consider that large.
Yep. So again, you want to roll this out to about 1/4 inch thick, and then you
Here,
use
take
our
a turn.
cutter. Yep.
This is fun.
Okay, that's fun.
Are you supposed to make it like very thin or very thick or what?
It's supposed to be 1/4 inch thick, kiddo.
I don't like math. So
Kind of looks like the Millennium Falcon.
It does.
So you can't see what I'm talking about. That's what I'm seeing.
All right,
Okay, my turn.
Okay.
trade off.
Elsa, let Anna go. Seems very thick on that left
Yeah,
side.
I'm gonna work on it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, mommy will help make it a more perfect thickness, or more ideal thickness.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
All right.
rolling it.
Let me do a little bit. Okay.
Okay, so you get the idea. You roll it out to 1/4 inch thick. We'll be back once we kind of have it to the right thickness. All right, Carla's done a fabulous job getting our smishing our Millennium Falcon of dough.
She's like a
And
pastry
so,
chef.
that's somewhere 1/4 inch, give or take, we think. So next, you take your little Mickey shaped cutter, if you've got one. In our case, we do, because of course Carla would have one. And you cut out the pieces.
Can I do one?
And so yeah, just hang on, just hang on. And I'm talking, dude. So you're gonna take them. In our case, we're gonna put them on these baking sheets. The reason we're doing that is because you have to actually set them aside for another hour to hour and a half. They want them covered to let the dough rise. And so we're going to put them on the baking sheets, and we're actually going to put them in the oven, not with the oven on, but just in the oven to give it some cover and then let the dough rise for the next hour, hour and a half. And of course the girls seem to have lots of fun doing this, so if you're doing this with your kids, they probably will enjoy it too.
This is so cool.
So we're going to cut these out now. You kind of get the idea once we've got them all set up on the baking sheet. We'll be back. And there are our finished Mickey Beignets. This is actually, well, they're not finished, but this is the dough laid out so we can go rise, kind of wait and rise. This is the second batch of them. We already have 9 of them on another cookie sheet that we've put in the oven. So we can go ahead and put those in the oven. And again, we're not cooking them in the oven. We're just putting them in there to kind of let them rise as the here. Hang on 1 second. So that's what they're doing. Again, no oven on. They're just in there to rise. So you put them in there to rise for an hour to hour and a half is what the directions say. So we're going to take a break. Just as a little tip, if you have some dough left over, you can do like us and give it to Elsa, and they can play with it.
It's so much fun.
So yes, they have fun.
It's awesome. And it smells really good.
So we'll be back once the dough is risen and we're ready to fry it up. So we've actually already done a few of the beignets. We're trying to perfect our technique. So the thing that we've realized is oil's hot. It's a pretty novel observation. But what we're doing is kind of putting the raw beignet on the tongs, and Carla's dropping them in. We're doing a couple at a time, so nothing too crazy. You put them in, and they just kind of, they just sort of fry. The directions say that cook them until they're golden brown on both sides. You kind of let them cook one side at a time. You notice they sink to the bottom, but they'll poof up and they'll kind of float to the top here in a minute. But it says cook it, let the first side get golden brown, then flip it. Let the other side get golden brown, and then you take it out and you kind of put it on a paper towel. We've got plates with paper towels on top of them here, but that's what it's looking for. So Carla's turning a little early because they're not golden brown, but I mean, I don't know that there's an exact science to any of these. I will definitely say it was pretty easy to fry the first ones. I don't know, Carla, if you agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like some mysterious thing. I mean, we'd look for them to be golden brown, and we took them out and we put the next set in. Definitely, you want to make sure your oil is hot enough. We actually didn't realize we didn't have a thermometer that went to 350 degrees. Our highest one went to 200. So we kind of just took a chance, and it seemed to cook okay. So they cooked in that 2 to 3 minute time frame, so it must have been hot enough. So they come out, and obviously it's grease, so you want to be a little careful with it. So we bring the plate right over here, and then here's the other one. So I will say, if you put them on a baking sheet like we did, the thing that I noticed is this baking sheet isn't I don't know, stick resistant or whatever, so non-stick, thank you. Yeah. So it was harder to get these beignets off than the one that I pulled off of this one. These came off really easily. So I want to pay attention to that. So I'm going to scoop another one off here, and we're going to give it to Carla. You got it right here. You just kind of, here, could you use your other hand to yank it off? Okay. There we go. That's one end. And then I'm going to come over here, and this one's kind of sticking, so you never know. So you got to use a little elbow grease to pull this one out. And we're going to put the next one in. Here, I'm just going to pull it off. There
Obviously, we have clean hands.
Yes, we washed our hands. So you can see how they kind of boil up or fry up. Again, I mean, depending on the size of pot and depth. I will say the directions did say to put 3 inches worth of oil into the pot for them to fry. We didn't have 3 inches of oil. We kind of got to what we thought was about 1.5 inches before we ran out of oil. We used all of that oil we showed you in the beginning of the video. It doesn't seem to be hurting them by any means. I mean, maybe if they were thicker, there might be an issue where they're kind of poofing up and floating to the top, but it doesn't appear to be, bothering kind of the cooking as we go. So, so I don't know that you have to really have 3 inches deep of it, but you definitely want a good sized pot so you can put a few of them in there. So we're going to finish cooking these up. It's kind of I think you get the idea of how we're cooking them. And when we're back with all of them done and ready to put on the powdered sugar, we'll see you then. Okay, so we're done frying everything up, and here's our 17 expertly cooked, Mickey Beignets. We haven't tasted any yet because we still got to put the powdered sugar on. And girls, we have caramel in the refrigerator, and we can dip them in. So Carla's got the fancy shaker thing to do the powdered sugar the proper way. I would have just thrown the bag on top of it.
Me too.
So thankfully she's here to keep us on the straight and narrow. You're missing powdered sugar right there. We got to make sure we have them all coated.
Mm-hmm.
Coated. We'll try one out here for the video, but we're saving the rest for after dinner.
Can we both take I'm very excited. Can all of us take a bite?
Yes, we will try a bite here in a minute, okay?
Guys, I'm very excited.
So they're all coated in powdered sugar?
I'm very excited.
We've heard you, Anna and Elsa.
I'm so excited to have caramel because I recently got my braces off. And you can't have caramel with braces, so I'm so excited.
Yep. All right, so we have those. So we're going to get the caramel, and then we'll take a bite, and we'll tell you what we think. Here are all of our finished cooked Mickey Beignets, all 17 of them with powdered sugar, and our caramel sauce ready there for dipping. So Anna, Elsa, and I are going to have some. Unfortunately, Carla doesn't get to have any because they're not gluten-free, so sad face, for Carla. So girls, y'all can go ahead and grab one. Also going for the middle one. That was mine. Here, get that one. It's got a lot of powdered sugar. All right.
I'm going to dip in.
Yeah, you can dip it. Dip it in. Try not to get powdered sugar. Well, you might have to break Mickey's ear off and kind of dip it like a piece at a time.
It's really hot.
Okay. Well, they just came out of the fryer, so.
Okay, I'm going to try it.
So what do you think?
Mmm, this is so good.
Do you remember how they compare to like the ones we had at Port Orleans?
I don't remember what they did.
No. All right. Okay. Anna, you're sticking one in? No, don't get it everywhere. It is hot. Probably should have picked ones off of the plate that wasn't just right out of the fryer, but okay. And then Daddy's gonna have one. That's good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's as light and fluffy as I remember the ones from Port Orleans being. Like it has a more, it's not pancakey, that's not right, but it's definitely not like a sopapilla texture with the kind of the thinness. Like it is thick.
Okay.
Like it doesn't feel like it's
more
maybe
dense.
it's more dense. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's kind of puffed up and expanded. But they're still good. Yeah. We can keep working on it and seeing how they go. Let's see, one more bite.
I may have overmixed the dough, which may have added to that denseness.
I don't know. Maybe we'll try it again here. Have some more pictures and video of it in the near future. Like I said, that wraps up our video. We're done for today. If you like what we're doing, hit that subscribe button. Get notifications for every time we publish videos like this. Maybe we'll do a few more of the cooking ones if y'all seem to like these. And we'll be back next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.